Dive right in. President Trump appears to have done a 180 on the Epstein Files and one of his closest allies in Congress. We know the House is set to vote on releasing the files this week, and President Trump says go for it.
His unexpected about-face came late last night on a Truth Social post where he wrote, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein Files because we have nothing to hide, and it is time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by the radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democratic shutdown. Just a note, President Trump has not been accused of any wrongdoing related to the Epstein case.
Of course, this all comes as a lot of signs point to dozens of House Republicans voting for the release of the files. Our In the Know columnist, Judy Kurtz, here with the very latest. This is sort of at the foundation of this new rift between President Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, both of them going at it on social media and on the airwaves. What's the latest?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this was a part of a trend by Marjorie Taylor Greene. She kind of was becoming this MAGA maverick, if you will, starting to buck her party a little bit. She's always been a very strong Trump ally, has been called the female Donald Trump by some, and now this very clear public spat between the two of them. I don't think they're going to be inviting each other to Friendsgiving this year.
No, in fact, she was talking about that. She's always been a super supporter, and I don't think that she likes being challenged by the president like this. Here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say.
He called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong, and those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger. Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein Files.
And what did the president have to say about this? Well, he said that wacky Marjorie Taylor Brown, remember Greene turns to Brown where there's not rot involved, is working overtime to try portraying herself as a victim when in actuality she's the cause of all her own problems. The fact is nobody cares about this traitor to our country, but she's getting a lot of attention.
Absolutely. And of course, the president doubling down on that traitor talk. It's interesting, Marjorie Taylor Greene, in that same interview, expressed some regret for not speaking out against heated political rhetoric, which she said can lead to threats, can lead to violence, something that she's experiencing right now in terms of what she says are threats to her safety.
So a lot of folks are asking why, what's going on with this rift. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, look, it's over the Epstein Files. President Trump should lean into getting them released. But some are arguing maybe this has to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene's own political ambitions and the Trump administration saying, you know, maybe you should just hold your spot in the House and leave it at that.
Yeah, she's denied reports that the Trump administration basically didn't want her to make a Senate run or pursue other political opportunities. So she has said that that is not the case, that she has always been this way. She has always been America first, in her words, and she is just speaking out for her constituents. I think it's interesting, too, though, that President Trump is now doing this, as we've noted, 180 on releasing the Epstein Files. It's clear that there are going to be several Republicans, many more now possibly, who are going to buck his demands to, you know, consider this a Democrat hoax, in his words, a con job, a scam, as he has called it, and vote for the release of these files. It might be a chance for him to win back the narrative. He was holding the pen to this chapter and seems to have lost his grip on it with this Epstein Files vote.
One of the people talking about that vote was Congressman Thomas Massie. Here's what he said about it.
I think we could have a deluge of Republicans. There could be 100 or more. I'm hoping to get a veto-proof majority on this legislation when it comes up for a vote.
Of course, the president isn't fond of Tom Massie either. He said that he has a 6% approval rating. I don't know where that number comes from, but he said a 6% approval rating. And now that they're calling him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes on anything Republican.
Yeah, and Massie teaming up with Ro Khanna to really spearhead the call for this Epstein Files release vote. And Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie not exactly seeing eye to eye on almost any other political issue. Ro Khanna was speaking about the Epstein Files release as well. Let's hear from him.
You know why Trump is losing his MAGA base on this? The reason he's losing it is he ran saying there's a corrupt governing elite that has shafted you. That this is the Epstein class was the forgotten Americans, and I'm going to stand up for forgotten Americans. He's forgotten those forgotten Americans. And we are saying that we are going to stand up for survivors, for America's kids, and we're going to hold this class accountable.
So looking ahead, we've got this vote expected potentially tomorrow in the House to release the files. There's also going to be a press conference, just as we've seen before with Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie standing side by side with some of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's play what Speaker Mike Johnson had to say, because he's also been at the center of this. Everyone calling on him to put out this Epstein vote without having to get the discharge petition. Let's listen.
He had nothing to do with it. President Trump has clean hands. He's not worried about it. I talk to him all the time. He has nothing to do with this. He's frustrated that they're turning it into a political issue, and it's not surprising because the Democrats have nothing else to talk about. What have they accomplished in 10 months? Epstein is their entire game plan. So we're going to take that weapon out of their hand this week.
So much like the President Johnson putting this squarely in the Democrats' hands, yet this is a Republican-led effort in part too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should also note that President Trump has called for an investigation, the Justice Department, to investigate possible Democratic ties to Epstein. And Thomas Massie notes that that could be concerning because if an investigation is opened up by the Justice Department, that could actually prevent some of these files from ultimately being released.
We should just wrap this up by going back to last week before all of these new developments where new emails from Jeffrey Epstein came out, and one of them was suggesting, and we have no way of knowing whether or not it was true, that the president knew about underage girls. So that's where all of this comes
Certainly the story is not going away. The drip, drip, drip of these emails, 20,000 released last week, as you mentioned, Hillary, is going to keep this in the public eye for a long time.
Yeah. And I think it's important as we stand here today on this Monday, still no official charges, no official accusations that Donald Trump himself
none.
did anything wrong.
None, absolutely not.
Judy, thank you very much.